I'm Anita from Slile. I'm sitting here with Mando Diao. It's a great pleasure to meet you.
Thanks. Great to meet you.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything new from you in a long time. Like since your #1 album, you released your best of, and you released an album in Swedish. But like,
and then also Caligula.
Yeah, right.
And MTV Unplugged.
Yeah, MTV Unplugged. But there was like nothing.
I see what you mean.
Really new that we noticed internationally so big. So can we like call this a comeback kind of, or is it just for us to notice that, and for you it was never, you were never not like?
I think you should feel free and call it exactly what you want.
Yeah, I think Mando Diao will pop in and out of people's consciousness all the time. I mean, until we're dead and not producing music anymore. I think we've come to a point that we realize that we're gonna make this, we're gonna work like this until we die. And I mean, whether we're relevant or not, there's gonna be for the society to choose. And we're gonna, sometimes you're gonna call it as a comeback because it's a comeback for you, you know. But for us, no, we make an album a year, and we have done so for 10 years now.
And with Elita, I hope I pronounce it right, Elita.
Sure.
Yeah, it's more electronic and very much influenced by this 80s synthi sound. So
it sounds like 80s synthesized sound, but sound and influences are rarely the same. You can be influenced by Frank Sinatra and Vivaldi and still sound like 80s synthesizers. So it sounds like that, but it's a combination of everything we love, which is a very complicated issue.
Oh, okay, so you're not influenced, but it sounds like 80s synthi. Yeah. So okay, and why is it right now just like the perfect sound for you? Why is it the sound right?
Well, it's a combination of the progress we've been through. I mean, I think it's a kind of easy way. You take the easy way if you describe it as 80s, because some of these ingredients that we put into that was not born in the 80s. There's also a lot of, from culture that was not mixed in pop music as much in the 80s. Hip hop was not even invented in the 80s, and the dance music scene that took in the 90s and made it into house and was not even invented, and dubstep and a lot of like modern music styles that also influence us. So if Elita would have come in the 80s, it would not have sounded 80s.
Yeah, no, it would not be possible in the 80s because of all these inventions you just mentioned.
Yeah,
so.
also, exactly, and also the techniques we use on the album, it would be very hard to do in the 80s.
Yeah, your whole album seems very like far in the future, kind of. Also your artwork, and I've just experienced something crazy. Like you showed me your artwork in the 3D version. I had like these glasses on and headphones and was kind of in the artwork with the music.
Yes, he's gonna show it.
He's gonna show it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like this crazy experience, like you were flying with all these objects that are just now in the background, and you were just flying with them. Yeah, you do it like this, and you look like you're in a box, but you actually are not. You feel like you're in a whole new world.
Oh yes.
Yeah. How do you like? Why do you do all of this stuff? How did you get the idea to put it this way?
We worked with. Well, it started out with us actually liking an artist called Young Lean. A new Swedish artist. He's only 16 years old.
He did this? He invented this?
No. He we liked all the artwork he had for his songs. So we checked out who did his artwork, and there was a guy called Ossian Melin, who's a young guy from Gothenburg, and he's a digital artist, and this is the way he works. You know, he explained to me that I'm building my own world in my head first, and then I do it in the computer. You know, so he's building like his own universe in the computer, layers and layers, and like all words. So when we got the artwork, we loved the steady picture, of course, but we started to look on it in Photoshop, and we started to zoom in slowly, and that's when we realized how great that would be in like a sort of a virtual reality or Oculus, as we call these.
How
glasses.
great it would be to be just in the artwork.
that was the
Yeah,
main
to
purpose.
dive into it, basically.
Yeah.
We've been working with Photoshop artistically since we were maybe 15 years old, and for us it's always been like a very natural way of working. You know how to do it, and people know exactly what we mean when you talk about layers and filters and stuff. And to be inside of that, it's kind of a world that you want to experience.
Yeah.
And the first thing we did was what you see right now, how you go into the artwork like this.
Yeah.
And when we had this idea, then River, who is the software company, who invented the software for Oculus, they contacted us and or through friends, and then we asked if they could do this and make it into this. But we knew from the first start, we knew that we don't listen to music like we did when we were younger. Then we bought one product, and then we used that product, and that was it, you know. And now we get the music from so many sources and uses them in so many ways.
Yeah.
So everything we do artistically must also be made for all these different phases of life where you experience the music. You have to mix your song specially for the club,
Yeah.
especially for iPhone.
Yeah.
And also the cover and the artwork can also change depending on what you do.
Using this method, you could update your album, and you can like extend the world of your album,
Yeah.
which is fantastically creative.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't
and
think-
that could be creative even for, of course, for the listeners. You know, they could be involved in our music in many ways.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
the listeners cannot really have really dive into it because they don't have this technique. It's like it's a
they
pity.
they do have the technique. I mean, they don't have this yet, but
Yeah.
they will pretty soon. I mean, but they do have technique. That's the best thing with today's society, that even all people sit on huge technique. And what you have in your pocket is the same amount of technique that Bill Clinton had as the president of the United States in the 90s. That everybody carries around these big computers, and you can do so much with them. So the technique people have, the problem is that we're not using it. We're not using it. We're still making LPs,
Yeah.
covers, you know, and we're trying to put them into a telephone. And you sit and you watch a vinyl cover on your phone, you know.
Although there's so much more possibility.
Yes,
You could have
yeah,
like
you know.
3D covers on your phone because the technique is
of
okay
course.
with it.
Yeah, and you should do that. And also you should combine different worlds like video games and music. Have so much to offer each other.
Yeah, just with video games, like this whole diving into your music thing is
Yeah.
like you're in a game, just not playing. You're just like flying around, and your music would fit perfectly into games. And yeah,
Yeah, we play a lot of games. We play a lot of freeware games that is on the internet, and they could be very simple. I mean, it's like a NASA game where you just walk on the moon and you feel how it is walking on the moon. I like games where you don't have to win all the time. That is not a competition and you have to score points. Maybe you just feel something, and that's kind of I think that kind of gaming and that kind of universe fits best more to music and what we do.
becomes emotionally
emotionally,
strong.
yeah.
Yeah.
You just mentioned all of these different genres like rock, folk, hip hop, now electronic, and you basically used all different kinds of music styles for your past albums and for your current. Is it important for you to be like not bound to just one sound, but to take all the possibilities and all try out everything
Yeah,
new?
of course. I
You know,
mean,
when we grew up, the first thing I listened to in my life, when I was only a couple of months ago, was Bob Marley. That was the first artist I liked. I didn't know that it was reggae. I didn't know that he was black. I didn't know that he was from Jamaica. I didn't know what kind of culture reference there was to that music. I just loved it. And also, my parents listened a lot to Mozart. That was something called classical music.
Yeah.
Mozart was this year. He was white. He came from this kind of... I didn't know that. I had no idea.
It was
I
just the music
It
that
was just the
changed
music, and that is also the same today with people. They have a lot of information about music. This is this. This is that. This is that. This is this. You can listen to that. You can't listen to this. But the inner core of the music is the same from now, from when you're only 2 months old. It's just melodies.
Yeah. And it like matches better than you think, probably, if you are not in these boxes thinking this is hip hop, this is rock. You can just like mix it and it sounds like it should fit together.
Exactly.
Sometimes actually a little less information is sometimes good, you know.
Yeah. Probably also with
Because
music making.
you get a pure experience.
That's why creativity and intellect is not always working together. Because intellect collects data and information, and creativity maybe feels better without the data and information.
Yeah.
And for instance, maybe there's not so much difference between a Drake song and a Bach organ symphony. Maybe there's not so much difference. There's a bass line and there's a melody, and they go pretty straight, and one gives one feeling and one gives a similar feeling. So, I mean, I think it's just you put it into categories so it makes your life easier, you know, but sometimes it makes it harder.
Yeah. So, why is music basically so important? Like you just said, music is all everywhere, and music has been important for you ever since. And although you didn't like think about it, but you listened to it and you had a feeling and you liked it. So, what's the important thing about music for the world, for the whole? That was just what came in my mind.
Well, for instance, we're in Berlin right now, and in Berlin, music had a very big political influence on trying to put East and West together. When the wall came down and like the club scene and the nightlife opened up, there was an opportunity for people to meet on the dance floors, and this was maybe outside of culture that you might be used to. This is not something you read about in the classical music magazines, but this music was political for real.
So music is unifying, you know, and because there's also a very good thing with music. It's not a competition, you know.
Yeah.
It's never going to be close to any sort of war.
Yeah.
It's just going to be emotions and experiences and
this society is built on competition and winning and getting money or getting prizes and getting and getting stars and getting, you know, like good rating, likes or anything. It's very built on that, you know, and music has got nothing to do with that. But society tries to put music into this album has sold this much, it's this many songs, it got this many stars in this album. So they try to make music into a sport. They have award shows, they have
Eurovision Song Contest.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff like that.
And American Idol, and you know, you try to make music as much as into sport as possible.
Yeah.
But what you should do is make sport into like music. That would be much better for society.
And let music be what it is, just music and no competition.
You can't lose. It's impossible to lose in music.
Yeah.
It's absolutely. I know. If you have a piece of paper that says that I got the worst critics from this guy, or I lost. I came in last in the Eurovision Song Contest. You have it on paper, but you still don't lose. You know.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter. Like, it's not bad music. It's just like maybe the kind of music these people don't like, but I do like. So that doesn't mean it's.
And so many times in history have we pointed out new culture and said that it's bad. And it's happened into jazz. It happened into rock. It happened into rhythm and blues. It happened into funk. It happened to disco. It happened to heavy metal. It happened to house music. It happens today with EDM. That you say that this is bad. This is not good. This is worse for the kids. Blah 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 blah. And you try to make it loose, you know. You try, but you can't.
But you can't. Yeah. Now let's come back to your album, Elita. Like, is the story, the legend, true that you got this Russian instrument as a present, and then you were like very into it and say like, "Wow, this is an interesting sound. Let's put it on our album."
I don't know about that present thing, but because we bought it.
You bought it.
We bought it in our favorite secondhand shop in Stockholm, actually. We found it there, and we took it down to our studio. Well, it's not a studio. Our laptop is studios, but it's our place, me and Gustav's place. And we started to play on that, plugged it in and play on it, and it didn't behave like anything we played on before.
Yeah. And now
it didn't behave like any technique we played on before. It didn't behave like any instrument or whatever we played on, you know. It behaved on its own. You know, it didn't do the same thing twice. Sometimes it made sounds of itself. It's not really. It's not really this. The synthesizer sound is not what's important on this record. It's not the sound of this synthesizer. It's the philosophy that we started to feel, you know, around it.
With this
Because
instrument.
we started to treat it as an animal.
Okay.
You know, more than and biology, rather more than just technology. You know.
So you basically.
And therefore we
don't
we started to see all our things much more as biology. So we play very differently on this record. At least for us, it feels like we play very differently.
And that also, it's got nothing to do with the word, with the synthesizer. We never used synthesizer on Elita because when you discover it, when you discover the matrix, you don't need synthesizer. But Elita helped us to find this, you know, because it helped us to have open arms and open heart towards technology, and to see that as something that can help you and not be afraid of it.
Interesting. So you basically built your whole new album around this instrument.
No, around the philosophy.
Around the philosophy.
Yeah. Around the instrument.
That gave you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, our records or music we always build. I mean, the computer is the base for that. So that's the technology where we base it, and that's just, you know, we see it as a sound library.
Yeah.
And how you create sounds, not so important.
Okay.
But sound of a sound and feeling of a sound, very important, of course.
It really is a library. You walk into, like, you know, the state library, and then you pick what you feel like and what suits your life, and then you try to do something with it. But we use on Elita, we used so much. We combine everything, analog and digital and old and new, and we use very much guitars and very much drums and very much electric bass and very much piano, very much strings. So you might consider Elita to be very traditional in one way, you know. But people sometimes like to focus on details which make their life easier, so they can put this into
In boxes.
Yeah, but I see Elita, it's, you know, it's. In one way, it's a very traditional album. You know, it's not so strange. You know, it's just love songs mostly, ballads, soul songs, funk songs, disco songs, rock songs.
Yeah.
Like albums normally are.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you play live, do you have this Elita with you?
Yes, we do.
We have it, yeah.
As a symbol.
For
As
the
a symbol.
philosophy.
Yeah.
Okay, but you actually don't play it on stage, like.
Sometimes Elita is very good for making sound effects.
And is it only the one? You have only the one Elita? So if it breaks, you're
We
like,
have two,
oh my
actually.
gosh.
We have two.
You have two.
Yeah, but that's true.
This
Yeah,
is
Two
good
sisters.
because-
and they're unique. I don't know why, but they're unique. One of them doesn't work like the other one. It's like whatever you do, it behaves very irrational.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful instrument.
Yeah.
Everyone should have one.
Yeah. But not everyone has one, so it's something special with you now. And like with all of these great, like different sounds, different influences, different kinds of music, can you still try to put your music in 3 words for us? Is that possible?
Well, it's our universe. That's what it is. I mean, it's a way direct line into our brains. Me and Björn's.
Universe, direct line into your brain.
Or
take that
it's
as
our
it's
And
universe.
it's the love.
The love.
The love, all the love we feel, we put into our music.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is a very nice word to come to an end. So thank you a lot for the talking. Thank you for
Thanks,
the
our
interview.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, you too.